Hello and welcome to another episode of Sailing Melody, a slightly different one to normal.
Yes, indeed. So we've not done a whole lot of boat work this week. In fact, we've done no boat work this week because we've been on our honeymoon. But don't worry, we're not just going to show you honeymoon snaps. There is a little bit of that coming up, but the main focus of today's episode is
to answer some frequently asked questions. We love reading all your comments and we try and answer the questions as much as possible, but we do get lots of the same questions, so we thought we'd do a Q&A kind of thing.
Yeah, like a Q&A, but the same questions crop up over and over again in the comments, and we thought we'd tackle some of those, and also perhaps even give a few things away that you don't know about us at all, that have never been asked, and let you into a few surprises and secrets that only those of you that watch this video will know about us and about our plans. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it a little bit like an episode of Top Gear or the Grand Tour or something like that, where we'll do a few questions and then we'll cut to a bit of where we've been on our honeymoon exploring. It is quite interesting because it kind of tells you a little bit about us and our kind of mentality towards exploring and seeing the world. So it's not just holiday snaps. First round of questions then. Question number one, how long is Melody?
Melody is...
Well, she is 40, she's 44 foot, isn't she?
So
yeah, there's some arguments about the length.
Yeah, very, very quickly, the abridged version, she's 35 foot on deck if you measure from the transom to the front of the nose. She's 38 foot if you include the bathing platform.
Which was an addition.
Which was an addition. So when she was first built, she didn't have that bathing swim platform, and she was a 35 foot boat.
Yeah.
The swim platform adds 3 feet, so that makes her a 38 foot boat, and the bowsprit extends her to 44 foot. So if you were to put her in a shipping container, you need a 44 foot shipping container.
But don't tell anyone that. She's 38
she's
foot.
38
she's a John Till 38.
She's a John Till 38. And on paper, she's 38 foot, and the hull is 38 foot.
Does the bowsprit count?
Yeah.
Yes.
So her original design was 38 foot with the bowsprit.
Question number two, when and where was Melody made?
She was made in 1981.
Yeah.
And she was built in Wales.
Yeah, in Borth.
In Borth, which is near Aberystwyth. Question three then, who designed Melody?
A man by the name of John Teal.
John Teal designed Melody, and he actually wrote a book, How to Design Steel Boats, which has been kind of the benchmark for a lot of the steel boats that you will know and be familiar with.
No, we're not in it.
No, I'm in the boat.
No, this boat is not in it.
But she was built by, is that separate?
She was built by a company called FL Steelcraft, who were boat builders in Borth, and they traditionally made fishing boats and trawlers, and then they commissioned John Teal to design a range of sailing boats, and they did a very successful range of sailing boats from the mid-70s till the mid-80s, I believe, and
they
beyond.
made a big sailing Atlantic clipper as well.
Yeah, if you Google
we'll try and
that,
find some pictures and put it on the screen.
The FL Steelcraft Atlantic clipper. What engine does Melody have?
I can answer this.
Go on.
A Ford Mermaid Melody.
Yeah.
Ford Mermaid, so based on the Lehman block, which is a very popular block for industry and tractors. The Mermaid division of Ford marinised those engines for marine use, and they released a whole range of them. There's the Dorset and the Dover and what have you, but she is the Melody, she's the Mermaid Melody, which
is by coincidence.
Yeah, we'd already decided on the name Melody, and her engine is a Mermaid Melody, which I think is just meant to be.
Yeah. How much diesel capacity does Melody hold?
We think 1,000 litres.
Yeah.
But it might, between 600 and 1,000.
Yeah, so I've made some measurements of the tanks, which are in the pilot house, one each side, and doing some sort of back of the envelope calculations. I think that they're a funny geometry because they follow the hole shape. So without being too picky, somewhere between 600 and 1,000 litres. I think probably nearer 1,000 litres, about 500 litres, sure. And we still think that they're full. We've actually found a sight glass on the top, on the side of the tank, and the fuel level is right to the top of the sight glass.
So we will see. We will find out.
We will.
We just need to put a stick in them.
How much water, fresh water, can Melody hold?
Currently
none.
Currently none.
No.
So she has got she came with 3 bladder tanks, one either side of her lifting keel, and one in the forepeak.
Well, that's not true. We have reinstated one, haven't we?
Yeah. So we've put one bladder tank back in just for using on a day-to-day basis. The bladder tanks are 300 litres each, so with those three she carries 900 litres, but the design of the hull, you can clearly see that she was supposed to have skin tanks, and the work involved in commissioning those skin tanks is not that great. So I'm strongly considering recommissioning the skin tanks because it would improve the capacity hugely. And
water.
Yeah, and it also means that when you open the inspection hatch, you can see to the bottom of the tank, whereas if you've got a bladder, a flexible bladder that weighs 200 kilos because it's got 200 litres of water, yeah, but you can't physically move the bladder out the way to inspect the steel because it's too floppy.
And you can't see inside your bladder tank.
No, so we may not do that just yet because it's not a priority for launch.
It might be a future project, but 900 litres currently.
900 litres currently with the bladder tanks. Well, question number 8 is, when will you splash launch Melody? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you all wait until the very end to answer that question. So we're going to skip it and have a look at some of the footage from our honeymoon, but it's not just footage, it's quite interesting stuff. We
went to a cool place.
We went to a cool place. Have a look at where we went. Melissa and Jack and I live in North Wales in the UK. We live in the land of dragons with some of the UK's largest mountains as our backdrop and the Irish Sea in our front garden. So it's no surprise that we have a natural draw not just to the vastness of the open ocean, but also to the rugged beauty of the mountains. For a large part of my life, I was a frequent visitor to the French and Swiss Alps, where I expanded my mountaineering, climbing and skiing abilities. And because Melissa has never been to this part of the world, I was keen to take her there on our honeymoon. We chose to stay just outside Chamonix at the very bottom of Mont Blanc, and on our first day there we took a little cog railway up to the Mer de Glace, a huge glacier which extends from high on the mountain right down into the valley, and we were shocked at what we found. Incredible place, this. Up here on the other side of the valley is which is, I'll show you some pictures of that now. But this whole valley is called Mer de Glace, which obviously means the sea of ice. And last time I was here, it was just completely glaciated the whole way down. And what you can see now, all of this moraine and rock and rubble, it is actually sitting on permafrost. So it is still frozen ice under there, but it's just so bizarre to see it retreated, like the tide going out, on the mudflats in Wales. And it's,
You haven't been here for 10 years?
No, I've not been here for 10 years, and it's just kind of sad, really. And it is evidence, undeniable evidence, whatever anybody says, of climate change. The only trouble is being up here is amazing, but faintly depressing because of the way that the glacier is just gone. It's just not there anymore. It's retreated right back up into the mountains. It's just such a sad sight to see. I don't know, I'm speechless really.
With that, back to the studio.
Doing the Jeremy Clarkson thing. So yeah, that was amazing. And let's get on with the questions.
Number 9.
Question number 9. This is a question that's come up quite a few times, which is, you've welded a lot of patches into that hull. Isn't that really dangerous? Because the boat's got lots of patches in. In actual fact, it doesn't have many patches. Well, in actual, it doesn't have many patches. It's actually got about maybe 6.
Which is,
but they're big patches.
Yeah, there's nothing for a steel boat.
And bear in mind, none of those patches are a patch over the top of bad metal, okay? They're where steel has been cut out and the piece has been welded in. It's not a sticking plaster. And something else to understand, those of you who are engineers will know this, but when you weld a piece of metal to another piece of metal, you're not gluing 2 pieces of metal together. That's not, it's now on a molecular level, it's one piece of metal. You have fused them completely, and it's the weld is stronger because it's thicker than the original steel. So absolutely not. Welding patches into a steel boat is in no way dangerous
And completely
Unless
normal.
It's completely normal. Every shipping container, every Maersk container ship, every fishing boat, every steel work boat all over the world are constantly having bits chopped out and bits welded in. And it's much, much, much stronger than if you do that kind of repair on a fiberglass boat, unless it's, a KP46 or something where the fiberglass is about that thick.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually dangerous if you weld it incorrectly.
Well, yeah.
Oh, well, yes, yeah.
Definitely.
If you're a
leave
if
holes
you're a
in
rubber,
it,
if
it's
you,
terrible.
yes.
Yeah.
You're
Don't leave holes in it and you're
Don't.
fine.
Yes.
Don't leave holes in it.
But yeah, welding patches into a steel boat is not in any way dangerous so long as it's done
And
properly.
completely normal.
This is another question that comes up very often. What paint are you using?
Jotun.
Jotun. So we use a Jotun or Jotun. And we are also going to be using another paint by another British company that are manufacturing a paint that works alongside Jotun.
Okay.
So we're currently using, their system is a 2-pack epoxy paint, and we use the Jotun 87 2-pack epoxy primer. The Jotun 90 epoxy primer is the same paint that's just got a wider range of colours, but we don't care because it's only the primer.
Yeah,
so
we're using the winter grade as well.
Yes, absolutely.
just-
Explain that then.
Yeah, so the nice thing with the Jotun paints is that they do a winter grade version, which is a different hardener that you put in the paint, which means that it goes off in colder weather.
Yeah.
So it will go off in up to -5. So the problem with when you're painting a 2-pack epoxy system, quite often you have to have the perfect temperature. And Jotun's designed for use on oil rigs out at sea, so it's great for that.
That's
Yeah.
cold. That's
So we use Jotun 87 or Jotun 87 winter grade primer, lots and lots and lots of that everywhere, and then we're going to be using Jotun hard top for the top sides, and even the red that you've seen on the top sides of the boat a minute, that's still just primer
And
at the
also
moment.
answer us a question. Andy and I are having an argument about whether it's Jotun or Jotun. Every video
It's Jotun.
I've ever seen says Jotun.
Yes,
Even the ones by Jotun.
but if you're in a Marvel film, it's Jotunheim, not Jotunheim.
So yeah, so let us know in the
Somebody
comments.
from Norway, Eric,
Yeah.
tell us, is Eric and Era, hi, tell us, is it Jotun or Jotun? I don't know. So the next question that we get asked a lot is, what insulation system are you using? Talk a little bit about the different options for insulation in boats then.
Yeah, I mean, you can have spray foam, like a closed cell spray foam is quite common in steel boats.
Yeah.
We don't use it because-
But what you normally have is a bare hole that's been shot blasted and painted before you spray it on, because you want to make sure there's no imperfections.
Yeah,
behind
so
that.
as Melissa says, normally if you're going to do a spray foam, you would, if we wanted to spray foam the interior of this boat, which would be sweet, we would have to rip everything out. All of these cupboards, all of these bulkheads, everything out. Shot blast the whole interior back to bare steel.
Yeah.
And then spray foam the whole lot with an industrial grade closed cell foam, which would be, you'd be scrapping the boat basically and then rebuilding the whole interior. Completely not going to be doable. So other people use rock wool, other people use lamb's wool. There's all kinds of different ways.
There's a really cool one, which is, there's a couple of different brands. One of the brands I can think of is Armacell, which we'd love to use, but we can't afford.
Yeah, Armacell, if you want to sponsor us, that'd be amazing. But our solution is this. We use this stuff, which is a pink closed cell spray foam board. We've got it in various thicknesses depending on the thickness of the framework that it's going into. And we cut it to shape so that it can slot into the area that it needs to go into. And then we spray, we haven't done it with these because we need to be taking them out, but we spray around the edge with a closed cell spray foam. And what that does, it sticks the panel up, and it also stops moisture getting behind, or limits moisture getting and condensation getting behind the panel. But the advantage is, unlike closed cell foam, one of the criticisms of that is if you ever want to get it off to do any metalwork, it's a nightmare to remove. Whereas this, if it's got spray foam around the edge, we can slice around the edge with a bread knife or a Stanley knife and pull the panel out and facilitate repairs and inspection. So that is the system that we're using, and it's not. Yeah, it does make the boat nice and warm, but it's not through lack of research or lack of thought. We've put a lot of thought into the insulation system, and I know some of you may disagree with the methodology, but that's what we're doing.
Lots and lots of boxes we had.
What navigation gear do you have? We have paper charts and a sextant and proper slide rules, and on top of that, the next layer, we've got a Raymarine A60 chart plotter with running its own proprietary maps and a facility to run navionics. And on top of that, like everybody else in the world, we've got navionics on iPads and two iPads and 2 phones. So, there's been lots of debate about this over the years. What happens if your iPad goes flat? What happens if your iPad gets wet? Well, paper charts can get wet and paper charts can blow overboard.
We've got more than one form of navigation.
We've got loads of backups.
Which is great because we're currently not going anywhere.
Yeah, currently A60 chart plotter, iPads, navionics, Raymarine's own charts, and paper charts with conventional navigation, compass, sextant, and a watch.
Yeah.
This is another question that comes up quite a lot because it's an unusual keel configuration on Melody. So Jack's going to explain what the keel system is that we've got.
I will say, when the man that was having Melody designed asked for the keels, they asked him which ones, and he just said yes.
Yes.
All of them.
All of them. So, go on.
So, we've got one lifting keel, which is currently outside of the boat. And then we have 2 bilge keels, 1 long keel, not a full-length keel, but 1 long keel.
It's pretty much
full length.
Full length.
Goes from bow to stern.
The boat itself is really cute because it's really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. This is all
you can't have any more.
So we've got a full-length keel, bow to stern, which encloses the rudder, encloses the prop.
It's a triple long keel with the drop keel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bilge plates so that she can take to ground, and a lifting keel which is mechanically lifted on a mechanical winch with a cable. She draws 3'9" with the keel up, so we can go into shallow anchorages. We could even go down the French canals.
And
is it 4'1"?
4'1".
4'1", and she draws
7.8.
Yeah.
With the keel down.
Just shy of 8 foot with the keel down.
And the keel that drops down is a ballasted.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not just a metal plate.
Some people have said on the comments, oh yeah, it's not a keel, that's a centreboard. It's not a centreboard, it's a ballasted keel. It's got a ton of lead and concrete in it. Despite the alarming condition of the glaciers, the Alps are still incredible. The Aiguille du Midi is an astonishing place. It's a pinnacle of ice and rock, which along with Mont Blanc herself dominates the Chamonix skyline. The village of Chamonix sits at an altitude of 1,035 metres or 3,402 feet, only slightly lower than the summit of Snowdon, which is the highest mountain in England and Wales. However, the Studiomic rises to an immense height of 3,842 metres, which is 12,604 feet, which is literally a breathtaking altitude. What do you think then, Melissa?
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. It's nice and cold too.
Yeah, -3 up here.
We're not too cold, but it's nice.
Yeah. So normally when I'm here, I'm climbing, or I would have been, not done it for a few years, but the normal route is to go out through the ice cave and the tunnel. It's not an ice cave really, it's just the tunnel. Along this ridge here, there's a fella sitting there sorting his crampons out and what have you. Down the ridge, and then down here, and down onto the Studiomic, which is the kind of the top of the Valley Blanche, which you can ski down if you wish to. And that is the start of the 3 months route at Mont Blanc. This is so cool. The glass floor with a few thousand feet underneath. That is so cool. Wow, that's straight down now. I was thinking about what it is that attracts me to the mountains and attracts me to the sea, and I think it's the same thing. I think it's the sense that you're tiny in comparison to these things, and when you're out in the ocean you really get a sense of your place in the universe and the fact that we're just a tiny inconsequential piece of matter in the middle of this awesomeness. And it's the same up here really. We're not very far up into the mountains now, but even here, just standing next to these giants, you just get a sense of, wow, we are tiny. And the idea of walking up the side of that mountain and making your way to the top just fills me with delight, but also with awe at how massive these mountains are. And I think it's the same kind of psychology. I might be talking rubbish. Tell me if I'm talking rubbish.
Good chance.
There's a good chance. Next. Can you please explain the steering system on Melody?
Mechanical steering system we have.
It's a Whitlock system.
You were like Yoda then.
Yeah.
Mechanical system we have.
So where have we got steering, Jack?
Well, we've got steering in the pilot house, and then we have a steering system in the cockpit, but they're both linked.
And we also, in the future, will have
Hydrovane.
a hydrovane.
Yes. We mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. We have actually already bought
It's in our house.
a hydrovane, which is in our house, and you're going to see a big video all about hydrovane where we unbox it, even though we've already got it, and fit it to the boat. And we're really, really pleased to be working with hydrovane. So Whitlock mechanical steering in the cockpit, Whitlock mechanical steering in the pilot house, linked together mechanically with gearboxes and shafts. No hydraulics, no cables, nothing to break, nothing to snag. It's
Just
all
grease.
bomb-proof and
Again.
a hydrovane, and what we need to equip the boat with at some point is a decent autopilot.
Yeah, we have got an autopilot, but
It's
It's one of the old
It's one of the old ones.
wheel pilots,
Yeah.
so it's not going to cope. It might work for about 10 minutes on a flat calm day.
yeah.
Next question, which comes up probably at least 5 times on every video, which is where will you sail first?
England, hopefully.
England.
Well, UK, hopefully.
Where will we sail first? We'll sail first out of here and do sea trials around North Wales.
When we leave here, we'll probably spend some weeks and possibly months going around the UK, possibly the East Coast and the Wales and across to Ireland and around the Solent before heading further south. And we're undecided yet whether we're going to go into the Med to explore the Mediterranean and Greece, or whether to follow Barry on Adventures of an Old Sea Dog and head straight across to the Caribbean.
Yeah, we will touch the Med.
yeah.
Regardless, we'll be there for a bit, but we don't know how long.
Yeah, and it may be that we hit the Med on the way back round.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first plan is sea trials around the UK and then head south.
Yeah.
What is your long-term plan?
We do want to circumnav.
Yes.
We don't want to do it. We don't want to race round. We don't want to do it too slow. No. But we do want to circumnav.
Yeah, absolutely, that is definitely on the cards. We want to go all the way around. We want to follow Florence and other people and get the whole way around, which would be
amazing.
That would be the ultimate goal. But we want to do it at UMA speed.
Yeah.
As slowly as humanly possible.
Yeah, we want.
I want to go around I want to circumnav in 8 years because I want to go to university or college when I'm 18.
Yeah. So Jack's 10 now. He'll be 11 next month.
So he wants to circumnav before uni.
University, college, university.
Might be a push, but you can always delay uni.
Yeah.
And we're not silly. There might be every chance that we eventually get somewhere and think we love it here and we're going to stay here. We do. But our ultimate goal is to circumnav.
Yeah, that's definitely our primary goal, is to go all the way around. What jobs did you guys have before doing the boat up, Melissa?
I've had a few jobs. My last job that I left was a holiday sales manager on a holiday park, but I've come from the horsey world and sales. I used to sort of work for professional show jumpers and eventers and stuff like that, and then I moved into sales, and then I was also a dog groomer as well. There's a few variations.
I predominantly worked in the music industry and music and media for 25 years as a session musician, but alongside that, because it's a terrible way to make money, I've had lots of other jobs. So I've driven HGVs, driven heavy goods vehicles. I've worked in IT and computers. I've been a teacher. I'm now a paramedic, as you know, and my original training was in product design and industrial product design and engineering. When I first left school and went to university, I ended up switching and doing a music degree, but my initial background is product design and engineering, and my intent was to build musical instruments for a living, and that didn't pan out. I ended up playing musical instruments for a living. So yeah, loads of different things.
Yeah, we're quite sort of well
we're flitted
jobbed.
around a lot.
I don't know what the word is.
I'm
Yeah.
jobless.
You're jobless.
Next question. What other hobbies do you have apart from sailing? Jack?
Whittling.
Whittling. Not
Yes.
whistling. You
No,
can't even
not
whistle.
whittling. I don't know.
No, you can't
I
whistle.
can't whittle.
Jack
No,
likes to whittle.
You like whittling? You like going climbing?
I like airfix models.
Yeah.
Building airfix models.
Lego.
Reading.
No, I actually think I'm growing out of Lego.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? And reading.
Yeah, reading. Reading's the biggest hobby out of all of them.
And swimming.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Melissa?
read four.
Horse riding.
I like horse
I like swimming, walking, cycling, and exploring.
Crochet now.
Yeah, I'm currently crocheting, which makes me feel really old, but
You're not old.
My big hobbies traditionally have been rock climbing, mountaineering, you know, in the French Alps and that kind of thing. And well, music was my career really, but yeah, climbing and outdoor mountaineering and radio controlled models and model making and building stuff. Being in the
yeah, I mean, I
workshop.
will say that I like arts and crafts and making stuff and building stuff.
Yeah.
There's always some sort of project going on in our house. One of us is doing something.
Yeah. Next question is, what about storm shutters? You've got massive windows in the pilot house. What are you going to do if you encounter a really serious storm?
Cry.
Cry, get off the boat, run away. Yeah.
No, we.
By the way, our thoughts are really with everybody that's been involved in Ian recently, and
Yeah.
it's just awful to see the pictures of people's boats devastated.
Yeah.
And it really does bring it home. So the plan for storm shutters is yes, we'll
Yeah.
have them. The cheapest, quickest, easiest way to do them is sheets of plywood and attach them onto the outside. I'm thinking of actually doing them in polycarbonate, removable, that sit in a little in a groove and attach at the top, because then they can just stay there, and they're 10mm
And they'll be
bulletproof.
kind of like double glazing.
Yeah, 10mm polycarbonate storm shutters
And-
on the outside of the steel, so they can't get pushed in. The kind of shatterproof polycarbonate, but they're really thick. And then rather than pack them away and store them downstairs, taking up room
That's
inside
the
the
issue with
boat,
storm shutters.
Yeah.
Where do you put them?
if we store them on the boat, on the windows, and they're clear polycarbonate, then, you know, if they're good enough for riot shields, they're, you know, they're pretty strong.
Yeah.
Next question. This comes up a lot. My parents actually asked me this one. What about pirates?
We avoid the areas where pirates are reported.
That's the
It's
plan.
very rare.
Yeah,
pirates attack,
it is
they're
very rare. But you keep an eye on sort of the cruising network and stuff, and
It's a real thing, and anybody that doesn't consider it is a fool.
yeah,
The threat is real, but the threat is also real of getting assaulted or attacked walking down the high street of any big city. It's not so much the likelihood of getting attacked is lower out on the sea because there's less people. It's more a case of you're a long way from help if you get hurt. That's more the issue. Or if somebody really does want to injure you or hurt you or worse, you're a long way from help.
Normally, with pirates, they just want a packet of baccy and some rum
A packet of baccy.
and some old phones or something so they can sell.
Yeah.
I will
that
say
again.
neither of us smoke. I
Neither
don't know
of
where
us
Jack's
smoke.
got that from. But.
So yeah, and Jack's right. You know, most of the time, from what the research that we've done, it's not so much piracy as theft or robbery, and they don't want to kidnap you and murder you and hold you hostage because they haven't got the infrastructure for that. They are people who are in a desperate situation themselves and are in need of stuff that they can use or sell.
And if you do give them the stuff they want, they might come back tomorrow and give you a packet of fish or something.
A packet of fish.
Well, not a packet of fish, but some fish.
Yeah. So exactly, and I think
And we don't, as you can see, we do discuss these things with Jack. Obviously, they're more PC around children, but you know, it's something that I think has to be discussed as a family.
yeah. So primary way to deal with it is avoid the areas, do your research, look
Sailing
at where,
groups, if you're going to an area that's...
Sure.
Or have military, well, not following you, but
There are some parts of the world where you are, you know, where it's possible to get a military escort and so on, but
They're the places that we would be avoiding.
we'd be avoiding those places. And when you do encounter those kind of issues, act with humility, act with kindness, and give what you can give, and hope for the best. And it's a scary prospect, and you know, it's one that we'll just have to cross when stroke if.
Yeah, and when we're in those areas, we'll do more research and preparing for that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Hopefully, leaving the UK.
It's not something that we have to think too much about between here and in Falmouth.
Yeah.
And there aren't too many pirates in these waters, but
No,
yeah.
there's some dodgy people there.
Right, final question. Well, final one, but one. This is: will you keep Melody forever, or will you eventually upgrade?
Don't know. Melody, for her size, is amazing. She's like a TARDIS, and she has the benefit of being a steel boat that we can modify and chop and change, and you know, we could keep her forever, and in 10 years' time we could decide to do a complete interior redesign. There's a lot of potential.
Yeah, we could just weld new pieces to the back. It's
Yeah,
not as simple as
It's not quite that simple.
No, it's simpler to say.
For a 35-foot boat, effectively, as we discussed earlier, she's 35 foot from the transom to the bow, plus the, you know, so for a 35-foot boat with a bathing platform, she's massive.
I mean, we would like a bigger aft cabin. Living space wise, I think it's a really good boat for a family, because you can spread yourself between the two living spaces and get away from each other, because ultimately you're in a box
she's bigger than
together.
she looks on camera as well.
Yeah.
You know, you might see her on camera and think, well, it doesn't look like a very big boat, but she's much bigger. She feels bigger than she looks on camera.
But yes, maybe one day we might change Melody if the opportunity's right and we decide. I mean, we don't. The ultimate thing is we don't know how Melody's going to sail.
No, she might sail like a bucket.
We've done lots of research, and we've had marine architects look at how she should sail.
On paper, she should sail quite well, but
Yeah.
we won't know until we get her in the water, and we might get, you know, do a couple of years on her and think, you know, she doesn't
we
have
want
the
something
performance
better.
that we want.
Her engine's better
And also,
than
you know,
possibly.
Halberg Rassi might turn around and give us that Halberg Rassi 50 that
Or a
they've
Kraken.
been promising.
Give us
Yeah,
a
or a
Kraken.
Kraken. If
That'd be
Kraken,
nice.
you want to give us a boat, then, you know,
So
we will.
never say never. We're not committing to Melody being our forever boat, but she has lots of great advantages, which
Absolutely.
we're not in a hurry to change her.
And here's the big question, which is question number 8, which I've left till the end, which is: when are you going to splash? And I'm going to tell you now, it is going to be the first week of April. If the tides are right and if we can book the crane, you know,
Yeah.
first or second week of
All
April.
being well,
All being
that's
well.
what we're aiming for, is the first week of April.
First week of April 2023, and we've got a list. We've worked back from that list. So, you know, obviously right before we go in the water, so if we're launching in the first week of April, the week before that we need to be anti-fouling. The week before that we need to have all the painting finished and done, and the wiring done, and the, you know,
Yeah,
the
there's
electrical
lots.
done. We've got to
Obviously,
work
there's-
back from there.
It's tight. It's going to be a tight schedule to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But we've got plans in May, and we need to be in the boat in April.
I was
ideally.
talking to Nigel about this the other day, and he said, you know, every journey is a series of little steps, and absolutely correct, but you've got to plan those steps, otherwise they don't happen.
Yeah.
So the plan is we've got to get X, Y and Z done so that we can do A, B and C,
Yeah.
and or the other way around. But yeah, there you go. There's your teaser. We are going to launch Melody at the beginning of April, around the tides and the travel lift and
Yeah.
what have you. So sea trials will be in April.
Yeah.
We'll be living aboard
In April.
in April,
Yeah.
and then exciting stuff happening next year, and we'll be doing lots of interesting stuff which will
Sailing.
blow your mind, and including sea trials. So there you go. Thanks very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the
you.
episode. I know it's a little bit different, and I
and
promise
I hope you enjoyed the footage of Chamonix. It was absolutely stunning.
it was incredible.
And we're looking forward to taking Jack there at some point, obviously, because he couldn't come. But it was really nice to have a week away, just the two of us.
Yeah, and I promise next week loads of boat work. I've
Yeah.
got a couple of days work to do on the ambulances this week, and then I've got 7 days off, and we're going to be stuck right into boat work.
And as always, thank you so much for your support, you know, for people on Patreon and PayPal and everyone that comments and likes and shares our
And
video.
coffee.
And coffee, yeah, you're all just
Surprise.
amazing. Thank you. We really appreciate it, and we're always completely blown away by the number of comments and the support that we get from you all. It's really lovely. Thank you.
Keep them coming. See you later. Bye.
Bye.